flying in low visibility on a cloudy day.
Now this on your front left was an old department store called B. Altman. Anyone remember B. Altman? Been to New York before, maybe remember it. They went out of business in the 80s though. They were Macy's competition. Macy's had a lot of competition around here. There was also Gimbals, right? Gimbals, if you ever saw a movie called Miracle on 34th Street, well, on 34th Street, you know, Macy's, Gimbals, and B. Altman. Beautiful campus. It was an absolutely free school until the 1970s. They called it the Harvard of Public Education because the high number of Nobel Prize winners that came out. I go hang out with them. They take their karaoke very seriously. New York City, that triangular-shaped Flatiron building. You like Spider-Man? That house, the offices of the Daily Bugle, where Peter Parker was. Madison Square. This is where Madison Square Garden is. Now, if you like baseball, back in the 1840s, when our national sport was cricket, zip code. There's enough steel in this building to run a railway track from New York City to Baltimore, Maryland, and back again. But when they were building it, they had nowhere to store anything, so steel would come in still warm from Pittsburgh, and the construction workers had to use it right away. They just followed it right into place, working very quickly, because this was all built in the Great Depression. So the workers were lucky to have their jobs. They knew it.
Was flying in low visibility on a cloudy day.
So George M. Cohan back up. Isn't that cool? George M. Cohan. Alright, so we have the Virgin Megastore, the largest record store in the world. They also do movies there and books. And on the right-hand side, check it out, right underneath where it says The Lion King. That is the Yahoo sign on the bottom. And right above the orange globe and the Discover College sign, you see that mast? That is where they drop that Waterford crystal globe every New Year's. Attended by up to 1 million people who jam into the street 6 or 7 hours before in the freezing cold. And big designers down here as well. Donna Karan and Dana Buckman and Calvin Klein, Ralph Lauren, all these people are down here. Oh, by the way, I don't know if that's the largest button and needle in the world, but if anyone can point out another a button and needle that's larger than that one. 2.2 million square feet of selling space. They sell everything at Macy's. Downstairs. Now, how much is 2.2 million square feet? Well, imagine the tallest building in New York City, which is the Empire State Building. So we have right on your left with Empire State Building. That has about 2.2 million square feet. So you can take all the merchandise of Macy's and put it in the Empire State Building. We'll come back. Hotel Pennsylvania on your left. They play Madison Square Garden every year. They actually march the animals from the railway tracks down the New York streets to get them to Madison Square Garden. And I've seen that by accident. Station, it's all underground, right above the garden. We used to, like I said, we had this beautiful Roman bathhouse of a building, gorgeous skylights. When we tore it down, it shocked New Yorkers in 1963. If you look at photographs of this place, you'll wonder how they could have ever done it. People at the time protested it. Because we used to enter into the city of New York like kings and queens. Architects that did the old Penn Station. In fact, the two buildings were supposed to be sort of, companion pieces. You come here, these two grand buildings, and we're converting it. We're going to make this into the new Grand Penn Station. We're just taking forever doing it. It was supposed to already be open. It's still a post office, though. They're open 24 hours a day. If you have 24-hour postal needs, you could go to the James A. Farley post office. And he plucks her out. Wrecks the elevator train, then carries her off to what was, in 1933, the tallest building in the world. And it's currently the tallest building in New York, the Empire. They're made out of redwood or oak. They keep the water sweet and fresh. They last about 20 years. Check it out. It has a 20-story television antenna up top. The tower beneath it, that is the wind rushing upward, caught the front end and blew them straight up in the air. So they're never able to dock an airship up there. Well, Macy's is our next stop. This building was from 1902. They do nice things for tourists if you're going to go shopping there, right? They'll give you an 11% discount. Would anyone like to know how to get an 11% discount at Macy's? Yes? Very good. Then I'll tell you. If you do a coupon, which you take to the register, and that'll give you that 11% discount. About 25% of the building. It's in a weird location. It was the Great Depression. And so a huge building. There's a elaborate entrance on the left. There's a memorial to Titanic. Because after R.H. Macy died, the store was purchased by the Strauss family, Isidore and his brother Nathan. And Isidore and his wife, Ida, were an elderly couple. They had gone to Europe, and then they had come back from Europe. They decided to go to Europe again on the grandest ship ever built, the Titanic. And we all know what happened there, Ronnie. Welcome Europe in Herald Square. With my regards to drawing in, remember me, Herald Square. Herald Square. Having too many financial problems. They're a prestigious building. King Kong climbed it, so they're internationally famous now. And it was fully rented out. Some years it was free. Beautiful campus. There's an absolutely free school until the 1970s. They called it the Harvard of Public Education because the high number of Nobel Prize winners that came out. I go hang out with them. They take their karaoke very seriously. New York City. That triangular shaped Flatiron building. You like Spider-Man? That house, the offices of the Daily Bugle where Peter Parker was. Madison Square. This is where Madison Square Garden is. Now, if you like baseball, back in the 1840s when our national sport was cricket, back in the 1870s, you know what was here? The arm and torch of the Statue of Liberty. How odd is that? Back before all New York was developed and we were trying to raise money to build the pedestal, they had the arm and torch of the Statue of Liberty, and you could buy tickets to go walk up into the pyramid under it. That's the New York Life Insurance Company building. And this is the Metropolitan Life Insurance Company tower with the clock on it. They're converting this into luxury condominiums as well. Luxury condominiums everywhere. Now our next stop is coming up right off 23rd Street. If anyone would like to get off here, the famous Flatiron Winds. If you'd like to walk into Chelsea, which is just off on the right-hand side of the bus. Anyone getting off? Nobody? Check it out. Lovely department stores. Fifth Avenue. As we head down Fifth Avenue, you're going to see at the ends, it ends right in Washington Square. President of the United States. Now around the north end of Washington Square, well, all around Washington Square in the 1830s, you had very wealthy people. Henry James wrote about this book. New York City. Above here was mostly country estates. But, you know, in 1822, Greenwich Village, which we're about to enter, was really just 3 big country estates. And wealthy people began to move up there in the 1820s. But they had really bad contaminated water in New York. People getting sick, so wealthy people and merchants moved to Greenwich Village. This is where the theater district was located, down by Union Square. Shopping events. Well, the big estates south of here were all divided up however they wanted to divide them up. Back in 1811, they divided the rest of Manhattan up, got rid of all the streams, and made that the largest artificial environment in the world. South of 14th. And on your right-hand side, you have the YMCA. Remember the Village People? You could say they're the Greenwich Village People, and this is the YMCA that they were singing about. It's fun to stay at the YMCA. It's fun to stay at the... That song was written about the Chelsea Hotel. Chelsea Film is named after it. That hotel up on 23rd Street, if you want to check it out, that's, if any of you like punk rock or are familiar with Sid Vicious, that's where he murdered Madison Spungen. Very famous for its weird clientele, a lot of writers live there, artists, and they moved into Greenwich Village. So when we go into the village, you're going to see all sorts of Italian restaurants making these specialty places. By the 1890s, the old money moved out. Greenwich Village, the Italian immigrants. At one point, Greenwich Village was about 80% Italian. But you do have other great places like the Caliente Cab Company Mexican Cafe. John's Pizzeria is one of the best pizzerias in New York City. John's. We also have a big musical sort of population of Matt Humanoff guitars. That's where Eric Clapton buys his guitars. And as we go down here, check it out. The Italian specialties, all of this. The Bohemians really love society. Rocco's, that's a great... There have been subsequent waves of Bohemians. The 1910s, Big this place, the oldest cappuccino machine in North America. It's down here. There's also some other great places all down the Google Street. The Bohemians themselves in the 1910s, they hung out at a place called Polly's. Above it, they had the Liberal Club, which opened up in 1913. Together, they love these Italian cafes. In the 1920s, there was Bohemian tourism. People would come down here to see, they would see the gay people, they would see the Bohemians, and that's why some of them left, actually. Later on, the beatniks, Jack Kerouac, Allen Ginsberg, Gregory Corso, William S. Burroughs, great places to hear music to, the Buddha Inn, Town Blues. Famous people have gotten their start down, and they moved New York University uptown to the Bronx, where they built a beautiful campus, now part of, and it's now the Bronx Community College. They moved uptown. Now that Greenwich Village has changed again, but there is no single campus for it. You can tell an NYU building by the flag. The NYU flag. All right, we are headed down Houston Street. Check it out, it's spelled just like Houston, Texas. Lots of fine shopping and restaurants. So if you'd like to take part in any of those, I'm going to go downstairs and see if we have any ponchos, because it looks like it's going to start to rain, all right? Abandoned in the 1950s, when the industry had left New York, artists began to move into the legally. It allowed them to paint enormous canvases, those big sculptures down here. By 1970, they had won the right to live here legally, so art galleries opened up, and this became the center of the New York art world, became very fashionable. We used to have massive Italian immigration. Big Little Italy. It's gotten much smaller. Canal Street's the main shopping area for Chinatown. Sound of crossing more than the entire houses of the Declaration of Independence was read before an angry mob. And he marched down Broadway. The Gothic, neo-Gothic tower built by Cass Gilberts when the Episcopal Bishop of New York, the Church of England, visited it. He nicknamed it the Cathedral of Commerce. The building's so famous that President Woodrow Wilson Fabulous Railroad buildings. Alright, so this is our stop for Ground Zero. Brooklyn Bridge is just off in that direction. Is anyone getting off? Yes.
Are we going here?
We have to buy those?
No, he has.
We're getting off.
Smithsonian Institution's Museum of the American Indian. You have to take the Staten Island. Check it out, this building on your right. That's the Deutsche Bank building. It's so damaged. It's happening today. That's it. On your right, you always saw a movie called National Treasure, the Lincoln Stage. That's the V Church, the wealthiest, most influential church in the United States. It sits right on Wall Street. Why is it wealthy? Because they own all of this land. Queen Anne of England gave the church all of this land. Famous people buried in the cemetery. Robert Fulton, Alexander Hamilton, who was a lawyer, and Secretary of the Treasury, George Washington, was killed. Check it out, this building on your right. That's the Deutsche Bank building. It's so damaged. It's happening today. That's it. On your right, you always saw a movie called National Treasure, the Lincoln Stage. That's the V Church, the wealthiest, most influential church in the United States. It sits right on Wall Street. Why is it wealthy? Because they own all of this land. Queen Anne of England gave the church all of this land. Famous people buried in the cemetery. Robert Fulton, Alexander Hamilton, who was a lawyer, and Secretary of the Treasury, George Washington, was killed. Sits right in front of the custom for 119 years. Back then, New York City was a small city, about maybe 60,000 people. The immigrants began to... There was a green wall etched in the wall. Population expanded. We shipped all kinds of cotton from down south through the port of New York. And in those days, the East River became the second largest port in the world, next to London, and finally we surpassed London. Hundreds of tall ships along the East River. Hundreds of tall ships. Section of the seaport. But it contains shopping. Part of the Seaport Museum is these tall revolutionized Brooklyn. But this bridge was at capacity 7 years after it was built, so they had to start building other bridges along the river. The Williamsburg Bridge opened up in 1903, and we had the Manhattan Bridge, which was going to the city. The tenement buildings, so they worked out their own homes. Is anyone getting off at the Lower East Side? Off here? Well, you know, the tenements are gone. It's not a horrible place anymore. There's a lot of shopping along the side streets, discounted leather goods, that sort of thing. Veterans Administration invented that. Cesarean section, open heart surgery, the first hospital with an emergency room, the first to have horse-drawn ambulance service based out of the hospital itself. But no one ever gives them credit for that. Bellevue is only known for one thing, for the most part, a mental institution. Because people only watch old cop shows where if anyone crazy comes into the police station, they say, take them off to Bellevue. Even Miracle on 4th Street. When Chris Kringle claims to be Santa Claus, they say, take them off to Bellevue Hospital. They never acknowledge the fact that when the President of the United States comes to New York City and needs treatment, New York City at the Jefferson Market Courthouse. Interesting building in Greenwich Village. Thank you. See, I try to make this more interactive. I lecture too much and then you all get bored. There, we're born in some other country. There's 2.2 million people that live there, as opposed to 2.5 that live in Brooklyn. Forest Hills was designed by Frederick Law Olmsted and his sons, who did Olmsted. This building with a big spire on top. So this is the United Nations. Secretariats, they have all the offices, the General Assembly, which you can tour with the sloping roof. All these flagpoles, they fly the flags of the member nations in alphabetical order. And they decided to avoid fights. There'd be an Trump World Tower so tall that it casts a shadow on the United Nations. And the neighbors didn't like that very much. Famous people who lived in the area, like Walter Cronkite, came out and protest against this place. But Trump was able to get it past it. Anyway, it's not as tall as he'd like it to. And it has an observation deck. I'd go there instead. Tower Hotel. This is where a young Woody Harrelson came, and he worked as a bartender here before he got the bartending job at Cheers. They may like to build a huge office building on top of Smith-Wollensky, but they can't because the building on GE building. They have an observation deck there that occupies 3 entire floors. It's called Top of the Rock. People like it even better than the Empire State Building. There's dining there, there's NBC Studios, and you can take NBC Studio tours. All kinds of Art Deco artwork. A lot of these buildings have curious names. Between is the Channel Gardens, St. Patrick's Cathedral right across the street. Check it out. There's the statue of Prometheus, made famous. And we have the largest Christmas tree in New York, which is lit right here now. Victoria. Auction house on your left. We're currently doing post-war.